think to even consider fracking in the state of New York is an issue that I have extreme concerns over. And we've gone back and forth on this issue. Yes, fracking has happened for hundreds of years, as my opponent has said, here in the state of New York, but we're not talking about the same kind of fracking. We're talking about horizontal fracking now. And that's a completely different issue. So when they're going into the ground, they're not just pulling out the pool of the oils in there. What they're doing is they're actually disseminating and exploding the shale rocks. That has an emission of methane gas and radon, which has a shelf life of 3 days. I think that placing the moratorium here in the state of New York was the most intelligent thing that we can do, because the majority of the public, whether it's downstate or upstate, all agree we don't want fracking in our backyard. Now here's the issue that I have. The issue I have is my opponent and I have different views on fracking. I do believe in our last lively discussion that she went out and stated, you know, she wants to wait for the DEC report. So my question is, if that's the case and you want to wait for the DEC report, then why in the world did you vote twice, in March of 2013 and then in June of 2014, against the moratorium?
I will answer that question. So there was two pieces of legislation. One was to put a moratorium on the horizontal fracking. I supported that legislation, and I continue to support a moratorium on horizontal fracking. The legislation in question that she's mentioning is legislation that would put a moratorium on both the vertical and the horizontal, every type of fracking, vertical and horizontal here in the state of New York. The vertical fracking, as was mentioned, has been done here safely for 70 years without incident here in the state of New York, and so that I felt was going too far, which is why I voted against that particular bill. I have been very vocal in saying my opinion. I know I think it was misreported because it didn't get my full statement. However, what I have said and what I've always said is that I would support horizontal fracking in the state of New York should it be deemed safe, if it could be proven it could be done safely without incident, a certain distance from our New York City watershed so it doesn't affect our water supply, then yes, I do believe we should be exploring our natural resources.